Hello. Hi. Let's see if I can get this to work. It's been so long. Hello. Oh god, it's very bright. There we go, that looks better. Hi. Hello everyone. The world is falling apart, it seems, but here I am. Going back to work on a Sunday, because that's how I work. It has been forever. It has been for her. It's been so long. It's been almost 3 months since I last made a video, and I feel awful about that. Mukbang. I have no food. I might have some. Hang on. I have raisins. That's my snack. That's what I eat now. Hi. If you're wondering why I haven't made content or streams in like fucking forever, it's because I've been sick with not confirmed, but like almost guaranteed I've been sick with COVID-19, as in the plague that is currently ravaging most of the world. And it, to be frank, gang, it has sucked fucking ass. It's been one of the worst experiences of my life. But thankfully I'm better now. I am a lot better now. I've been free of symptoms for 3 days now. And I've had like false alarms before in this disease. So I never wanted to like announce that I'm sick, but now I'm better. And now that also means that I can get back to work. So I can finish a video for once. Start doing my job, and I have so much catching up to do. Don't feel awesome when you have a good reason. I do have great reason. Someone commented on Patreon when I postponed some streams and some videos that like, hey, global pandemic is a pretty good reason. Pretty good excuse, and it's true. It is a very good excuse. But I do want to get back to work. And to celebrate me coming back to work, me celebrating that I can once again perform labor, I have decided to make this stream public, which is why there's a lot more viewers. And if you're watching this in the future and wondering why the chat is more active than usual, that's why. It's because I want to celebrate with people, and my public hangout is like a week from now, and I don't want to wait that long. I want to hang out. How am I doing? I'm doing great. So the way that these streams usually work is this is a Patreon exclusive stream that I do for my patrons at $5 or up. But now it's public. I want more people to hang out and join. But usually this is for $5 and up. And the format is that you can ask me basically any question that you want, and I will do my best to answer it. And it can be about anything. I might not answer every single question. Sometimes maybe a subject is not something that I want to talk about, but I'll try to address it. Sometimes I might not have time, or I might just miss it. Like sometimes I don't see something in chat. But it is fine to remind me 100%, because I do want to answer as many questions as I can. I was going back to work on Sunday for years. I don't usually work Sundays, but here we are. Mulder, the evil twin. I already have a twin, it's Ollie from Philosophy Tube. Feeling better, finally feeling better, me. I am finally feeling better. I have been sick for a solid month, or like 3.5 weeks, but like a solid month with this shit. I don't know, like I'm not sure if you know someone who has had COVID-19 or coronavirus. I guess coronavirus causes COVID-19 or whatever. I've had again, I'm not super sure that I've had it because I haven't been tested, because I'm not in a risk demographic, and I haven't needed hospitalization. However, there was a bit like 2 weeks ago when I was pretty close to like having to go to the emergency room because I had like trouble breathing, and just no energy, staying in bed for like 18 hours a day, super tired, and it fucks with like your digestion system too. So like eating has been harder, fever, like a light fever, so not that bad, but like a light fever. It's been rough. It's literally one of the worst experiences I've ever had in my life. And I was kind of like, I admit, I was kind of like, yo, it's probably like the flu, kind of, a little bit. Like I knew it was super serious, but a part of me was like, if I get it, I thought that it would be like a flu. I just thought that it spread more and maybe it hit harder. It hits like a fucking truck. It is awful. Like it's really awful. But I am feeling better, so you know that's good. Our God Queen is immune to the plague. Maybe. Happy to see you healthy, yeah. So am I. Has there been any drilling? There has not been any drilling, because I moved roughly 2 months ago. Yeah, I moved. Like, and that's also been one of the reasons why I haven't made a video in quite a long time, because I made a video in February, and then I moved. And the idea then was that I was going to take like a short break for like a week or two, and then make my video in my new place. But then the move was like very exhausting. It took longer than expected. It was a lot more work. And then when I was like, okay, I finally moved in, I'm finally done, and then I got sick with COVID. So it's been like one thing after another, after another, after another, after another. But now I'm done. I'm free. My power has returned to me, and soon the world will face my wrath. Don't feel awful, you have a very good reason not to make anything. Yeah, like, being sick for this long and not working for a bit has also given me some perspective, because I usually sometimes have like a lot of anxiety about not being productive. But now that I've been sick and like talking to other YouTubers who have been either sick or like affected by the disease, like almost all of us are having like breakdowns. A lot of us can't work. A lot of people don't make videos for like 3 or 4 months, like longer than I have been on a like bigger break. Even when they're not sick with the global pandemic virus, right? And you know, no one gives them shit for not making content, and no one has given me shit for not making content. So like, I don't really know what I'm. So that's kind of been a bit of an eye opener, being like, oh well, what am I worried about? But it's been good. I do also have some anonymous questions that I'm going to occasionally dive into. So it's not just here in chat, it's also going to be the occasional anonymous question that I either get on, because the format here is you can ask me any question you want. Usually you can do that in the YouTube like video chat, which is fine, you can do that, and I will do my best to answer. But you can also ask questions on my Curious Cat, which is curiouscat.me/memolder, or on Patreon if you're a patron. And most people, usually everyone who's watching this is a patron, but now it's public, so you know, you got your Curious Cat and other things. Did you end up seeing the final version of Mia Mulder? Fuck yeah, I don't know what that refers to. Holy shit, you're pretty. Well, maybe. How did you do things like groceries? I have roommates. I do not live alone, so I had roommates, and I bothered them twice a week to buy me soup. I consumed likely like several liters of blueberry soup and nippon soup. Nippon soup? I don't know what that's called in English. I've had a lot of tea. I've had a lot of yogurt. I've had a lot of like soft food, because my throat has been kind of messed up and it's been hard to like eat and swallow things. So it's been good to have like soups, lots of teas, stuff like that. Recently I have been able to go outside. The last couple of days I haven't shown any symptoms, and also I've been able to procure a mask for the final, which I got right when I got sick, because the suggestions that I've seen is that if you show symptoms and you have to go out, you should have a mask. So I figured, well, I am showing symptoms, so I should get a mask. So I have a mask, which is washable, reusable. So whenever I go outside, I have this mask. So even if I do still have the virus inside me now, because I've been outside a little bit, I've been taking walks and stuff. Heading to the pharmacy to pick up some things, doing my own groceries now that I'm not sick anymore. I've been using this just in case I still have the virus, just in case. But when I was super sick, I had roommates and they took care of that stuff for me, which was very kind of them. Was COVID-19 comparable to the drilling? Different evils, I think, because the drilling was over like a 6-month period. I feel it was shorter than that, but it felt like it was longer than that. It kind of ruined a lot of things for me. But I could still like work at night. I could still like work. Like there were hours at the day that I could still like work and be a human being. When I was sick, I couldn't do anything. Like I was kind of stuck in bed. So I feel it's a bit of a. It's a different thing. It's different. Equally bad, but in different ways. I was only sick for like a month, not like several months, thankfully. So I feel I'm not super sure how that translates, but it was bad though. Did you ever get confirmation if it was COVID? And if it was COVID, are you still contagious? I haven't gotten confirmation if it's still COVID. I am not part of a risk demographic, and only people who work in other people who are in a risk demographic, or if they need intensive care, or if they are a part of like an essential job category, are currently in Sweden getting tested. And by essential job category, I don't mean like people who are forced to work in like grocery stores. I mean like healthcare workers. They are getting tested a lot more now, and they are slowly rolling out like antibody tests, and hopefully I can qualify for one of those. But we'll see. Like there's not that many tests. There's not a lot of testing going on in Sweden, unfortunately. Do you have a favorite number? 420 is pretty good. I also like 69, the sex number. I'm an adult. I haven't had like proper social contact with another human being in like a month. This is what happens. Good number though. What there's like the least interesting number. Hang on, I'm gonna Google this. I know there's a fun number. Uh, 12,407. It's a pretty good number. COVID-19 or the drills, a battle of two evils. Hey, Alice. See, still sneezing. Occasionally. MSN contagious. From what I've read, no. However, I'm still wearing this just in case. Also, because sometimes I sneeze. I don't know, maybe the virus is still kind of inside me, but like dying. I don't know how it works. I'm wearing this just in case, and I don't go outside unless I have to. Where have you all lived? Sweden. That's all the information you're getting out of me. I live in Sweden. I've never lived outside of Sweden. I lived in West Sweden for a long time, and then I moved to East Sweden, around Stockholm. when I went to uni, and I just stayed. I moved around a lot, but I still stayed like around the Stockholm area, because Stockholm is nice. Did you have any sort of deep contemplation while you were sick? If so, what were you thinking about? Ooh, I didn't really have any deep contemplations. I mostly played Victoria 2 and Stardew Valley. Victoria 2 when I had the mental energy to do anything, and Stardew Valley when I was so tired I couldn't do anything. I also listened to a lot of podcasts, because when I have a fever, as bad as I did when I was sick, my eyes started to hurt and I had like migraines all day. So I would close the curtains and just listen to podcasts. So I listened to a lot of the McElroy brothers. But I've also listened to have I just listened to the McElroy brothers? I feel like Welcome to Night Vale. I've been re-listening to Welcome to Night Vale. Been listening to I've been listening to The End of the World with Josh Clark. Conversations with People Who Hate Me with Dylan Marin, which isn't, I don't really think that's a super great podcast, but it's fun to listen to sometimes. A lot of not YouTubers having breakdowns too. Well, yeah, it's a lot. We're all having a lot. We're all having a moment. What's your take on the corona discourse in Sweden? So weird that it's the right here taking the same positions as the American British left, and being the ones advocating for proper lockdown. Yeah. It is kind of surreal, actually. So if you don't know, the Swedish discourse around the coronavirus is that Sweden hasn't locked down. So when I hear like American friends, or especially like British friends, or like people from Italy or Germany or France, Netherlands, whatever, like from Europe, there's a lot of stay-at-home orders. You have like there's legally you're not allowed to be in parks, you're not allowed to be in certain places. Meanwhile, Sweden, it's going pretty much as usual. Like there's like the stay-at-home as much as you can, work from home as much as you can, like as suggestions, but we haven't locked down. Like restaurants are still open, bars are still open. There are still some clubs open. The cinema closed down a while ago, but that's basically it. And the right wing here have been the ones arguing that we're like, hey, we should probably lock the fuck down. Whereas the left is like, we trust the health authority. And a big part of that is because the Swedish constitution kind of doesn't have the power to shut down society. It's the National Health Authorization that can do that, from what I understand. And the National Health Authority has just chosen not to shut down. Like, they don't want to do that. They don't think it'll be the most effective way to dealing with the virus. And I'm kind of worried that the method currently being implemented is this weird, like, slow herd immunity thing, which I'm not sure is gonna work, because like coronavirus infections and deaths have like been higher in Sweden than they have been in like neighboring countries with that have shut down. So personally, I think the National Health Authority is doing it wrong. I think the National Health Authority should lock down Sweden probably a little bit more, especially since I got sick, because it's the fucking worst. But I don't know, maybe Sweden knows something that the rest of the world doesn't. How about a random Swedish ineffectiveness and shutting everything? Good idea or deadly? I think it's deadly. Like, I think it's gonna be awful. The National Health Authority has been blaming a lot of like deaths on being like, well, we had a lot of infection in old folks' homes, which was bad, but like the infection isn't spreading because we haven't locked it down. It's spreading because it's infected different areas. And it's like, yeah, but where do you think those initial infections came from? Like, do you think, what? So to me, it feels like it's all a bit shit. The benefit of this though is that like Sweden has a pretty like robust healthcare system, so we're not at capacity. So the idea I think is that like as long as we don't reach capacity, I think people aren't really panicking, because the real danger, obviously COVID is deadly in itself, but the real danger is when hospitals have to implement triage. Triage is when you have to like pick who gets treatment or not, which has happened in Italy when Italian hospitals have reached capacity. So the idea is that we're not there yet, but when you reach like a level of triage care, that's when people who have medical needs don't get them. But that's kind of already happening here, but like with non immediate healthcare issues. So like all of my like trans healthcare appointments, for example, they've been postponed. I have friends who have like trans related surgeries coming up that have been cancelled, that have been postponed because of the virus. I have because like despite it being like different doctors in different sections, like I don't think plastic surgeons are doing a lot of COVID work, but you know, nurses and everything else, they obviously have to transfer and focus on the coronavirus. So like we're in the situation where like things could be worse, but a lot of people are seeing it as like, oh well, that's fine then, because we're like doing it better than the worst case scenario. Like, because Sweden is kind of managing a little bit better than like America is handling it, or how Italy handled it. Like, it's going better for Italy now, but like the curve is flattened, even if it should flattened a long time ago. I don't know, it feels weird. Everything feels just weird and insecure and kind of like scary at the moment, which is not a great position to be in. Yeah, I'm all the soup consumer. What the fuck is blueberry soup? Blueberry soup is a very, very Swedish thing. Swedish food culture comes from the fact that Sweden for like most of history, great power, empire, conquered most of Europe. Great. Then we lost to Russia, lost half the empire, lost most of the empire actually, and became dead poor, all super poor. Extremely poor, like one of the poorest countries in the world types of poor, like in the 1800s. And Swedish food culture kind of became scavenger based. So blueberry soup is soup made of blueberries, and they're like a lot of like folksy food, like from the like people in the country, what they eat. It's very like scavenger based. So it's mushroom soup. It is just fish soups there. There's a lot of soups. Turns out soups are really good if you're poor. So blueberry soup is like here. It's just like thin yam, basically. But again, like it's tasty. You warm it up. You put it in. You put it in the microwave. It becomes warm, and you drink it. You can take some crackers and you can like make it into crumbs, and you take it like distribute it in the blueberry soup. It's pretty tasty. Did you get a test to confirm it was COVID? No, I'm not eligible. But I talked to a nurse, and when I was right about almost so sick that I considered seeking medical attention, because I got that sick, like I had a hard time breathing. I talked to a nurse on the phone, like a hotline, and they said that like, okay, well, if you feel like you have to, you should probably come in and we'll get you tested. But I felt that I didn't really need to. I didn't have a mask at that point, and I would have to like walk from my apartment to the hospital, and I didn't feel it was worth the risk. And also I didn't really have the energy to do that because I was so tired. So I didn't get tested, but I did also recover. But if I hadn't gotten worse, I probably would have gotten in to be tested. But but like from the symptoms and everything, like it's almost guaranteed that it's COVID. Like with the timing and my symptoms that like match perfectly every single one. Yeah. Mask pandemic fashion. Does Sweden have any rules for recording people recovered? In the Netherlands, it is voluntary, and as a result, our death ratio recovered is really wonky. I have no idea. I should probably look into that. Because we can't really get tested to see if we have it. Like, I don't want to say that I've recovered from it, because I don't really know 100% if I've had it or not. So I don't want to add to a statistic that I don't know about. But when an antibody test comes out, which I'm gonna get, which I might be eligible for, we'll see. Because then I'll see if I have the... if I get the antibody test, that will see if I've had it or not, if I have the antibodies from it. But apparently they might not work, so I have no idea. Oh my god, Mia is alive, thank the Lord. I am alive. So trivial, but it's been eating away at me in your Hearts of Iron 4 stream. I told you mostly was anti-colonial. This is incorrect for the time period of the game. Oh, well thank you for letting me know. I don't know enough about Mosley though, so it was like, either way, I would be like, yeah, sounds good. But thank you for correcting. Glad you're not sick anymore, so am I. Nice. Isn't a number that is the least interesting already interesting because of that? That's true. You have to be symptom-free for at least 48 hours before you're no longer infectious. Yes. So like outside of some sneezing, which I don't necessarily know, because I sneeze all the fucking time. I don't know if that's necessarily that, but just in case it is, that's why I have the mask. So I never like sneeze on anyone outside. I still wash my hands. I still do all of that stuff. Like I still do all the anti-infectious stuff that I need to do, so I don't infect others accidentally. And because that would be the worst. But fuck. Yeah, so I waited 48 hours from that. It's actually over 72 hours now since I last felt like a proper symptom from it. But I might just have mild symptoms now. I don't know. Hence the mask. And staying inside as much as possible. Like I'm doing all the things I need to do. But I feel better now than I have like in a month. So that's why I'm like calling it. Like yeah. How long did it take for you to grow out that hair that long? This is a mess. So it's kind of always been this length. It's actually been longer sometimes. Pro tip, if you want to get long hair, you should cut it regularly, because if you don't cut it, your hair becomes damaged and falls off on its own, which is fine sometimes. Like you can still like use hair oils and stuff and it'll still look good. But if you want it to like really grow, you should cut it, because when it falls off naturally, it brings with it more healthy hair. So if you like trim the ends, like if you like trim split ends and stuff like that, it won't like fall off, and it won't like take healthy hair with it, and so it'll grow longer. Pro tip. But I've always had long hair ever since I was a kid. I think. Yeah, so I have no idea. I might get a shorter hair soon actually, but we'll see about that. The Hardy Romajujan number 1729 is pretty cool too. Don't know what that is. I've been getting through Critical Bits for the first time and I'm loving it. Oh, I want to do that. I like Critical Bits. I haven't listened to it though, but I like it. I want to listen. I want to get into it. It seems fun. Who's your favorite character romance? Who's your favorite character to romance in Stardew Valley? What's his name? Fuck, is it Sean? Stardew Valley. Shane. I like Shane. I think he has a good arc. I try to, whenever I start like a new game, like playthrough, I try to marry a new character. So I think my first one ever was Shane. Yeah. I think my second one was Penny. I'm not sure. Norway almost has as much corona discourse about Sweden as with Norway itself. Great. Sweden talks mostly about itself. Same in Denmark. Great. Everyone's talking about how shit we are. Perfect. How like God. Like it really feels sometimes that like either we are like nailing it amongst almost every country in the world, or we're just fucked and like refuse to admit that we were wrong. We'll see. Sweden is an interesting case. Yeah, at the very least. Sweden, the Florida of Europe. We're basically the Florida of Europe, to be fair. We have we have swamplands, weird people who live out in the country. That's where I'm from. I like to say that I'm from the Swedish Bayou. My family comes from there anyway. I would have preferred them doing a smart lockdown than they did over here. Yeah, Sweden has double the population of Finland. Sweden has 1,500 deaths. Sweden has 1,500 deaths. Finland has 92. Yeah, like the deaths in Sweden just keep climbing, and we're just like, it's fine. Yeah, everything's fine. Like we're kind of fucked actually on this. Like Sweden is great on like a lot of things when it comes to healthcare. A lot of things when it comes to policy. Like a lot of things. They really bungled this one up, lads. That doesn't necessarily mean that, like, I don't know, the left is bad in Sweden or something, because the left is in charge. That doesn't necessarily mean that, like, the policies of Sweden are bad or anything. But it does mean that they kind of fucked it up, I think. But then I go to Twitter, and, like, I see a bunch of, like, Swedish experts all agreeing with the National Health Authority. I see like my old history professors, because I went to medical history. That's what I did. So I have I have some overlap with the medical industry, like slight overlap, but like a little bit. One of my old professors who now works in a hospital, just fully endorsing the National Health Authority. It just feels like super weird. Like we can afford to shut things down more. Like, we don't need to have things open as much as we do. Like, we can shut down bars and restaurants. Like, they'll be, like, yeah, okay, sure, some of them might shut down. But, like, we can do our own stimulus packages. Like, Sweden is a very rich country. We can do that. I don't know. We won't really know if the strategy will end with more deaths until the pandemic is over. The stricter countries might just have more deaths, have the deaths more spread out. It's possible, but it just feels weird to like. It just feels weird because I look at news every single day. I follow the they have press briefings every day at 2, where the National Health Authority talks about this, and I just don't get the impression that like this is the better choice. Like they don't communicate why this is the better option than other countries. It just feels weird to me. I should have started HRT this month, but guess what? Yeah. I got lucky. I started my new HRT like right before. All my mental health care therapies have been postponed. Yeah, there's a lot of like stuff like that. It's going better for 2/3 of it actually. That's great. I'm glad. Is there non-exponential growth in Sweden? It's growing, but it's not exponential anymore. Like, but it is growing, I think. Hmm. Like, I don't want to speculate, because I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Don't take medical advice from me. Don't lead a country's health ministry based on my advice. But it feels weird that like every single country that has had infections, and especially countries that have like had low infections, have closed down, did it good, did mass testing, whereas here in Sweden we haven't shut down. I couldn't get tested despite being very sick. I don't know, like it just feels like we either know something that we don't, or we're fucking up. Like it doesn't really induce confidence. I believe you about Swedish food being informed by poverty. It doesn't explain the bananas on pizza. Oh, the bananas on pizza, no one gets that. Even us Swedes don't know that. That's horrifying, please continue. You serious about curry banana pizza? Yeah, curry banana pizza, I think. How do you think COVID-19 has changed the bread tube paradigm? That's a hot button subject right now, but I'm talking more about how bread tube fundamentally operates. So like obligatory bread tube as a label is like functionally useless, because there are people who are lumped in under the label that have nothing to do with politics. There are people who are like ostensibly doing like lefty political YouTube stuff, but they don't like exist. They don't have like the same overlapping fan bases with like a lot of other creators. Like I know that I have a lot of overlap with people like Bomber Guy, Sean, Philosophy Tube, Counterpoints. Like I know that my audience has a lot of overlap with those people, and that's kind of, I think that the label is kind of like conglomeration of that overlap. However, I'm not sure how it doesn't really fundamentally operate in any way. Like, at least from what I know, maybe it is also possible that I'm so isolated from other creators being stuck in Sweden that I might just not be privy to that much what's happening. I do think that because everyone is stuck at home a lot more, people are more angry than before, and I don't like that. So I see a lot of creators just bicker with each other over nothing. And be cruel to each other, like over like nothing, like things that like we don't need to argue about. So I've seen some creators like just the last week where that like really disappointed me with how they like treated other YouTubers during the crisis. Like because like a lot of people suffer from being terminally online. And now that everyone's at home a lot, that problem is becoming worse because now everyone's terminally online. Chronic posting disease is what I call it. And a lot of people suffer from chronic posting disease, and I don't like that. Fundamentally operates. I don't know. I don't really do that much. To continue Junction's question, how does BreadTube operate in general? Do you all collaborate, or is it just everyone on some? I think that everyone is on their own, but it might just be that I'm on my own. I know that like it's mostly just like friends working together. Like I don't know most people in like the BreadTube that are labeled as BreadTubers. I don't know most of them, those people. I know some people, and I'm very lucky to know some people, and I'm very lucky to know some people that have like a lot of influence and who have like built big audiences that I've been able to learn from, and that have given me a lot of good advice. But like, there's no like real. It's not like people work as a collective. It's not like the BreadTube YouTube collective working together. Like that doesn't exist as far as I know. Yeah, like at the most I will collaborate with another YouTuber will be that like I contact them maybe about doing voices in a video, and that's basically it. So I think it's mostly everyone on their own. But it might just be me that's unpopular. We'll never know. Went from a buzz cut to my legs with only 2 haircuts in 5 years. Huh. Now that you survive being sick for a month, you're basically immortal. It's true. Read anything good in quarantine, or has being sick got your mind on more important things? Like I wish I had read more, if I'm honest. I've been rereading some old history stuff that I read when I was in history class that I haven't gotten back to. But I haven't really done that much reading, if I'm honest. Like when I was the most sick, my eyes hurt like all day. Like I couldn't keep my eyes open. I had to like close my eyes. So it's been mostly podcasts, and I should have thrown in like an audiobook or something in there, but I'll be honest, I haven't read that much, which sucks. Angry Dutch yelling about swamps. Corona hair victims. How can one do an awkward face where it's so long that it's gotten in your eyes, but not so long where you can tie it up? What can I do? I have a mullet now. Embrace the mullet. We need to reclaim the mullet from being awkward to being good. The mullet is an excellent piece of hair, and I will defend it to my death. I had a mullet like all of my teen years, so it has a soft spot in my heart. I don't know. I don't remember having, because my hair has always been longer than that. I have no idea how to deal with that. If someone in chat knows that. What's my favorite novel? Ooh, good question. Hang on. I'm just gonna look over at my bookshelf, see if I can see anything there. Okay, novel. I think my favorite novel is Dune. Like, if I'm honest, it's a bit of a like cop-out answer, but I really fucking like Dune. Like, it's a good book. Anonymous asked 15 minutes ago, and I'm sorry I missed it, if I could do a dab on stream. Please and thank you. Of course I can. Dab. No, but I think my favorite novel is Dune. I freaking like Dune. Dune is a great book. And I'm very excited for the movie. We'll see. We'll see how it is, though. I'm looking forward for the trailer, but it'll be good. No lockdowns, only ski trips. You're my favorite Swede next to Vine Sauce. Vargs Galathor Joel. Just gonna do a quick Google. Oh damn. Oh damn, big YouTuber. Okay. Thank you. I saw like a thread that the Swedes have a lot of trust in their expert authorities, at least compared to, again, Norway. That makes sense. I don't know why, but we do. Don't know how well Sweden will go on, but in Italy quarantine is not working, so I'm starting to have doubts about its effectiveness. Sweden is a very rich country. Weird flex, but okay. Meanwhile, USA has gone full accelerationist. Like Finland, I turned myself into a pickle. I'm Pickle Sweden. Funniest shit I've ever seen. Let's start a country explicitly based on Mia's medical advice. Breadtube is a marketing term, kind of. I don't necessarily fully agree with that, but I can see where they're coming from. The thoughts line thing that happened was a bad time. Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. What? I've never seen drama on Twitter. Thoughts line? Recent drama with Thoughts line? I have no idea what you could be referring to. Twitter is where nuance goes to die. Yeah. Big fan of Breadtuber Curio. I like Eric. I visited Eric right before the corona outbreak destroyed everything. Which was worse, the drilling or being sick? Oh, worse? I think being sick, honestly. Like, I know I can, like... Oh, actually, yeah, I'm not sure. Because, like, the drilling was like being drip-fed poison. Being sick was like being, like, smacked across the face with a hammer. Like, I think the drilling was worse for, like, my long-term mental health. Because I think it kind of slightly traumatized me a little bit. But I do think that... But like, this knocks me out a lot more. Like, when the drilling was happening, I could still make videos, I could still make streams. Now that I got sick, like, I was just stuck in bed. Like, I would sleep for 18 hours, wake up, have breakfast, and then go back to sleep for, like, another, like, 12 hours. Like, I would sleep all day. And it was awful. So, yeah. Mullet rights. Business at the front, party at the back. Me a mullet. Your mullet take might be the hot take that gets you cancelled. I hope so. I like mullets. 3 people said me a mullet. Is the Dune series / movies any good? The old ones, that is. The movie is, like, known as a failure, but it's a fun watch, but it's not that good. Especially if you want, like, the true story. Like, it's not that true. Like, it's not that true to the books, but it's like it's a fun movie. The miniseries is a lot more true to the book, and there's also a sequel to the miniseries. Like season 2, which is called like Children of Dune, which is also like the sequel of the book, I think, and it's a lot more like true to how the books are, which is kind of necessary because like Dune is very thick. It's a very like dense novel, which is also why the upcoming movie is split in 2 parts, because it can't all fit in one thing. Also, like, the first Dune book is like 2 novels in one. Like, it has like a good arc and ending in the middle, and then it's like starts a new arc and continues and has an ending again, which is great. It works wonderfully in the book, but it doesn't really translate that well to movie, which, like, because if you have an end in the middle of the movie and then have to like restart from a new perspective, and it's not a new perspective, but like completely different like stakes. It's kind of hard. What do you make of David Lynch's Dune? I don't like it. Like, I personally don't think it's a good movie. But, you know, I think it's worth watching. Because I just think it's really, like interesting as a cinematic work. It is interesting. Much in the same way that I think Twin Peaks is interesting to watch. I don't like Twin Peaks. I don't think it's a good TV show. But I think it's like interesting as a product within the format that it inhabits. Joel is the king of memes. I'll have to look into Joel. The sequels are the most important. Dismantling the white savior narratives. Kinda needs to deal with the rest. Kinda need the rest to deal with the first. Yeah, kind of. Like it's a heavy series of books. But there's a reason why like the novel has like remained a cult classic as long as it has. Like it is a classic. Despite being a lot older than like Star Trek and Star Wars, and yet has influenced basically all of modern science fiction. Most of the Dune stuff related to the Golden Path is headache inducing. Like you can tell that, like you can tell that like a lot of the work that went into Dune was done by Frank Herbert just being blasted on acid. Like it makes sense like if you're high on LSD, but I don't like for us normal mortals, I'm not super sure that like some of that Golden Path stuff makes sense. Mia's Wiki will have a section called Season 1 videos and the drilling. Can someone make me a Wikipedia page? I don't think I'm enough relevant at all to have one, but I know I have like a YouTubepedia page. Like it's a special Wikipedia page for YouTubers. I'm on there, and I have an ego that needs to be fed, and I like attention. So if people want to like do stuff on there, they can do that. But obviously, like don't actually do that. Don't make me a Wikipedia page because I'm not relevant enough, and it'll be taken down, and then people like it's just work for like hardworking Wikipedia contributors to remove it because it's not relevant. But when I do something significant, like in the real world, not on YouTube, then please make me a Wikipedia page. Or if I just like become a lot more famous. Costumes in Dune are great. I almost catched up with chat. Great. Love thick dunes. Dune is a pain to adapt a movie from. That's also why I think that Denis Villeneuve is probably like a very good choice to adapt the Dune novels, because I feel like he did Blade Runner, which is I think very good movie. He made Arrival, also very good movie. Arrival was also based on a book, which is also like very, very hard to adapt. But I think he did it very well. So I think that he can do it. And according to rumor, you know, he did it. He demanded that the Dune movie be split into 2 parts, so he can do it justice, which I think is a very, very good choice. But I have confidence in Villeneuve because I feel like he understands the source material enough to process it, if that makes sense. You laid a siege and took over a government building. If that's not a significant enough numerical wiki page, I don't know what is. You know what? That's true. Actually, that's true. I don't want people to forget that I did that. I deserve a Wikipedia page, actually. Fuck it. It's true. Got a TV tropes page? I don't know. I don't think so. I have less than 25,000 subscribers. I don't think I'm relevant enough for a TV tropes page. But let's check. I really don't think so, though. Mia Mulder. Well, every single example that comes up is from the X-Files. So I guess no. Which is fine. I don't really understand TV tropes. I don't really know what it is. I am a good YouTuber, but I'm not a big YouTuber yet. I've been doing this professionally for like, what, Yeah, less than a year and a half. And it's already like my full-time job. I think I'm a fucking stellar success. If I like, I'm not humble. And I don't have to be. At one point it had synopsis for all Herbert's Dune novels. An incredible saga of Frank Herbert losing his mind. Yeah. Just adapt the game Dune. Oh, I would love that. Like Emperor of Dune. I never played the first one, but like Emperor of Dune, the video game, that is a TV series. Oh, injected into my veins. I need it. How do you think COVID-19 is going to change fashion and beauty in the next year or so? Well, we'll go through all of this mess. Depending on how long it goes, because I feel like people are a bit divided. Like some people want to open up now, which is wild. And some people are like speculating that we should open up and like go back to normal like in a year. If we go like to the point of like a year, because I think in America the guideline is to wear a mask at all times outside. Like I think that's the guideline now in some states at least. The CDC I think advised everyone to wear a mask even if they're healthy outside, which I am. So I think masks might become like a larger part of fashion. I've already seen some fashion shows that have incorporated face masks, which is interesting because they kind of reinvented burqas, and there was a fashion show in France, I think, which had banned those things, like Islamic headwear, like in general, but they basically just reinvented them because they cover the face. So it's like, you played yourself. Once you get big enough for a Wikipedia page, you can just make stuff up about yourself and then source it from your own site. It's true. You make a good point. Government building. Want to hear more info about that? Okay, so story time. I haven't talked about this in a long time, actually. So before I did YouTube, before I did YouTube, I worked in government, and before I worked in government, local government, I was an activist. And what I did as an activist was I started and I founded, along with some other people, obviously, I didn't found it myself, but I founded and led, I was chosen as the chairwoman for this organization. An organization called the Trans Defense, Transförsvaret, which was like a militant trans rights organization that was more radical and more progressive and like more direct actiony than the leading LGBT organization in Sweden called the RFSL. And this organization had like asked for a lot of change, and they do a lot of good work, and they do a lot of like proper governmental lobbying. But it was my opinion at the time that they weren't really like pushing it as hard as they could have. Like they didn't really organize protests in the same way. They didn't really organize demonstrations in the same way. So I figured that like, okay, well, Sweden is big enough to have like them doing the soft activism stuff, and then I, and like whoever wanted to join me, we could do like the hard activism stuff. We could do like direct action. We could do civil disobedience stuff. We could do that stuff. So what happened was that we did some protests, we did some name signing things, and we grew our organization pretty quickly. Almost no one wanted to like work, but like people showed up for demonstrations and stuff like that, which was the important part. And we decided one day that we would, God, I don't even remember what we did almost. It's been a while. We decided that we would occupy a building called like the building of social services in Stockholm, which is like social services. They do basically everything regards like legislating against medical care. Like we did a result by doing this, and I don't fully remember what. Oh yeah, now I remember. It was so long ago. And the way we did this was like we gathered people in a square, ostensibly to do like a normal protest, and then we just said like, we just asked people like, hey, we're gonna do a protest like now. We're just gonna go into a government building office and we're just gonna occupy it. Like we're just gonna stay there until our demands are met. And we had like 12 demands, being like less government like interference in trans healthcare, less real life experience, like easier access to HRT, easier access to like second confirmation surgery for like top surgery for trans men, easier access for immigrants and asylum seekers to trans healthcare, less deportations of asylum seekers in general, but like especially for LGBT people to places where they were in danger, like all these kinds of things. And we did that, and once we did that, for some reason we had like some really media savvy people in the group who contacted like a bunch of newspapers and like state TV, and they all came by to they did interviews, and they got all of their shtick, right? And we like submitted our demands to them, and they were like, yeah, okay, we are not really allowed to do anything about this, but like we get it, it's a protest, whatever. But we wouldn't leave, like we just wouldn't leave. Because like all of those 12 demands, which were kind of hard to implement overnight, obviously, kind of boiled down to like, well, we want to speak to a representative of the government. Like we want to direct talk to someone who is in charge, who has the authority to do these things, or at least suggest them, because we feel like normal activism kind of just ignores trans people a lot of the time. Because RFSL, the normal one, the big one, they had like lobbied to make certain law changes for like a decade, and nothing had happened with it. Like it just keeps getting bumped up because people don't think it's important, and like nothing was happening. And so we were like, well, we want to speak to someone in charge, and we just want to like convey our demands and be like, hey, we want this to happen. And it's pretty severe, like we want this to happen right now. But that never happened, obviously. And eventually the cops showed up and they were like, well, you have to leave. You can't do this. You're not allowed to be here. And we kind of had like a small siege over like that night. We had a small siege where like the cops wanted us out. We demanded to stay in the government building. And it all ended with them like dragging us out into the snow, taking our mugshots, starting with me because I was the ringleader, and I want my mugshots so bad, but they don't let like civilians have it. But I want my own mugshot because it's so cool. I want it as like a profile picture, because I think it's cool. It turns out that the government office that we occupied didn't press charges. They were cool as shit. Like we were cool with them, and they were cool with us, because they didn't really have the authority to do anything. It was mostly a symbolic venue to occupy, mostly symbolic. Yeah, it's like we were cool. They didn't press charges. We didn't like destroy the building, but the cops were so fucking angry. And we did that, and like, okay, initially, like right we get out, and I would think like, well, we got nothing done. Like we tried our best, but we got kicked out, and nothing happened. But then like 3 or 4 days later, or some shit like that, the government was like, we're announcing new like trans healthcare things, and also we're gonna do like a government investigation into how to make things better for trans people, and we're hiring a bunch of activists to come in to consult, including the trans defense. And so suddenly we were like legitimate. Suddenly we were invited to do that. It just happened like 2 or 3 days after we occupied the building. Total coincidence. Like had nothing to do with us, but like it just happened that like after we like made headlines occupying a government building, suddenly the government started taking action. Just weird how that happened. Just by accident. Weird coincidence. And then I've also found out like from friends who are journalists who've talked to people in power that we gave them a bit of a push to do something at least, and they did do some changes, like some medical changes, not even close to the demands that we wanted, but like something, which is nice. And the Minister for Democracy in Sweden also said, kind of by accident, but when prodded by a journalist, because they didn't want to mention us, because they didn't want to legitimize us really, as much as they wanted to legitimize us as little as they could. But when prodded by a journalist, the Minister of Democracy said that we should do more of those types of occupations. And we tried, but we couldn't really do much because the cops kept following us everywhere. And ever since then, every time I go to Stockholm Pride, the cops follow me around because they worry that I might incite an occupation or a demonstration. So now I don't do much at Pride anymore. And I did that we tried to like do more occupations, and that we did more things. And in the end, it turned out that the board started fighting with itself because leftists fight with each other more than anything else, and I got burnt out and delegated leadership to someone else, and then the organization promptly died, which sucks. But that's the story. Anyway, that was a long story, but that's the story of when I took over a government building with 70-ish trans people. Ordered pizza to a government office, did some we did some slam poetry because duh. That's what we do, I guess. Had a standoff with the chief of police locally because he came over and was like, y'all kids need to get the fuck out of here or we're gonna arrest you. And we were like, no, we're not going to. We're staying here. Fuck you, cops. And then they dragged us out and pulled us into the snow. Good memories. Cold as fuck. Yeah. End of story time. Long story. It was a while ago since I told that story. I need to incorporate it. I wonder if I can incorporate it into my upcoming video, so I can like brag more about it. Because I'm very proud of that moment. It was one of my like. I'm very proud of that moment actually. Like, I think I did good. Okay, let's get back to chat. Wasn't one of the Dune games basically prototype Command & Conquer? Yeah, Dune 2 was great. Oh, and they say that here too. Tiberian Sun is great. That atmosphere is awesome. I adore Tiberian Sun. If they're gonna remaster, because they're remastering the original Command & Conquer, I hope that they're gonna remaster Tiberian Sun too, because that's my favorite Command & Conquer game. Marketing tip from Mia, model YouTuber revolutionary. That was like my brand for a bit. Can we have some discussion about good practice, or can you direct me to someone who has the time for it? Oh, I don't really know actually. I'll get back to you on that. We didn't really like had much of a philosophy of how we were doing things. So like my philosophy for like doing good praxis was like just unionize, just create an organization. Because like I guess the best tip is like there are no rules. Sweden, especially when people want to start an organization, people start asking like, well, how are we going to fund it? Do we need to have like a board? Do we need to have like set meetings every month? And it's like, there are no rules. You can do whatever you want. If you want to have one meeting one month and 18 meetings the next month with no funding over Discord, that's fine. Like you don't have to register with the government as a non-government organization, unless you want to. We never did. But that also meant that we weren't eligible for funding, which is fine. We didn't need funding. Like, just do it. It's like the dumbest advice that you can give to someone. It's not a good advice. I shouldn't use that word. But like it kind of works. Like if you just gather up a couple of friends together and being like, okay, well, let's just do this thing. Usually it's gonna be a bit crap. Like when our first demonstration we did, for example, was pretty crap. But we went to a couple of Pride parades and we were pretty crap there too. But then we like got the guts together and like planned out how to do the occupation, and then we did it. And it turned out pretty well. Like 80%, like 95% I feel of activism when I did it anyway. even when we were invited to do like after that protest, and we were invited to like consult on like new medical practice for how the trans healthcare system is supposed to work, because we did that. Like I was in the government buildings, like talking to actual politicians, being like, well, this is how this works, this is how this works, this is how this affects trans people, which was a lot more like legitimate form of lobbying. Even then, like 80% of the work is just improvisation. You know, you do the prep work as much as you can, you read up as much as you can, but like eventually you know, you need to strike the iron while it is hot, and then you can just be like, I have no idea how to deal with this, let's just try something and let's see what happens. And usually that's better than nothing, because I feel like a lot of people when they want to do activism are like kind of paralyzed by not knowing what to do, and I think like no one knows what they do. Like no activist knows fully what they do. Like you can prepare as much as you can, but eventually you're gonna have to be like, time to lock the door against the chief of police, I guess, which is what like we ended up doing. I think we unlocked the door eventually when they threatened to break it down, because we didn't want to damage the place we were at, and the cops were more than happy to destroy shit to get to us. So we unlocked the door again, which was a bad move. I regret that. I wish we had kept locked the door. I wish we would have forced the police to destroy the door. But it turns out that, like, you know, we didn't really know what we were doing, and that's fine. I don't know. Maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe I'm totally right. I saw a pic of you on the roof of that building a long time ago. It's very good. Might be mistaken. Yeah, we weren't on the roof. We were like outside. It's a good picture though. I know the picture. Almost no one wanted to work in the organization. Yeah, no one wanted to work. It was like me and 2 other people who like actually put down the fucking work, and then like 100 people who like just showed up and didn't do anything, which is fine. Like most people don't want to do anything. Yeah. I was thinking of creating me an organization with those kind of aims. You can do it. What you're saying is you wanted to speak to the manager. Yeah, all you need to do is just unlock your inner Karen and you can do whatever you want. Karen Mulder was a model in the 90s. She's not related to me. The cops. They were really like that. Leave, please. You're just like, don't be here. Can you please leave? Because like they like a lot of our group were like teenagers, like people who were like 16 or 17 who were underage, and we were like, you should probably leave. But they were like, because some of them were like seasoned activists, and they were like, I'm under 18, which means I have certain protections that you don't, so I can actually stay here safer than you can. And it was like, okay, fine then, I guess, stay. Who cares? But the cops, they saw that it was like a bunch of like young people and 20-somethings, and it was like, what the fuck? What do we do? And because also we had because we had talked to like a bunch of newspapers and TV, I think they were a bit more cautious because they didn't want, because we were on TV before the cops came, so I think that they were a bit like, they didn't really want to be rough with us, because then that would be a PR disaster. When you get merchandise, you could put it on a mug. Oh, I should talk with Standard, who's my like my ad company. Well, they not my ad company, but like they give me sponsors. I should see if they can give me some merch, maybe. Put that in a mug. This is so Scandinavian, radical action. Government's like, okay, whatever. Non-insurrectionary. Mia the hardened criminal. If a riot starts in Pride, look for me in the crowd. I mean, it was kind of like that. Like, whenever I go to Pride now, the cops follow me around. Whenever I do. It might also have something to do with me attempting to egg the leader of the Christian Democrats a few years back. I think it was the same year we occupied the building. Because the leader of the Christian Democratic Party are like one of the major reasons why like trans healthcare is like so fucking far behind in Sweden. So I don't like them. So I was gonna egg them. But I didn't get the opportunity to because the cops came. And they've been following me around ever since. I literally occupied a building and demanded snacks, basically. Is there actually some cop stalking going on with you? Can they legally do that? They can't legally do that, but like some of the cops in Stockholm recognize me when I'm at Pride and then they just like keep an eye on me. They don't stalk me though, like outside of Pride, I think. I hope. I don't think people realize that stuff can work. Yeah, like yeah, that could be good. I want to make a video in the future about like on activism and like what individuals can do, but I think that might be work a lot better on after the pandemic, maybe. Westland, no rules, just right. I should also mention, I've been streaming for an hour and 20 minutes. Let's go for like, roughly like 10 more minutes, something like that. Maybe a bit longer, depending on how things go. And because I'm kind of catching, I'm almost caught up with chat. And I don't have that many things. I do have an anonymous question though. What is my favorite quote? Ooh, what is my favorite quote? I don't think I have one on hand. Hang on. I want to see who said it. Oscar Wilde said on his deathbed, either those curtains go or I do. But apparently that's a myth. I still think it's a good quote, if it was his last words, which probably wasn't, but it's still good. Either these curtain goes and I do, and then promptly die. Pretty solid for last words. Did you laugh at the cops and go, I was invited this time? I haven't done that, but I thought it was kind of funny that the first time I was in like an official government working building was as a protest, and then like 2 months later I was invited to be a consult. And I think that is pretty cool, because I would walk in dressed like to shit. It was like 20, I think it was 23, 24, something like that. Like a 23-year-old like art school hipster, because it was an art school at the time. Walking like past politicians and bureaucrats who are like very sharply dressed, very like adult, and then there's me just like, what's up? I'm here to tell you how to do your job. And I was very happy about that. I thought it was very cool. And after I finished art school, I went to become an LGBT educator in government, to keep my activism work up. And then I got burnt the fuck out. So like the first like 8 or something videos on my channel are like shot within like 2 or 3 months or something like that, and then there's like an 8-month gap, and then my video on Sweden comes. That gap is because I'm on burnout. That's also when I delegated to a new leader, and the organization kind of died out. Yeah, I haven't gotten back to activism after I got healthy. Like I started making YouTube videos as a way to work on my health, which is superb now, by the way, outside of like coronavirus, obviously, but like mental health and stress and stuff like that. Now it's superb. But I haven't gotten back to activism from that, and I probably won't, because it is fucking exhausting. And if I do, not as a leader, I think. I don't think I could come back as a leader of an organization. It's way much work. It's almost a full-time job in and of itself. Set up a small committee at the place I live at to protest the high rent and poor living conditions, and we made a plan to tackle this. That sounds like activism, yeah. That is activism. A lot more things are activism than you think. Like, I noticed a lot of the time, like a lot of my friends wouldn't want to call themselves activists because they didn't feel like they were actually doing anything. And it was like, I had to keep reminding people, like, you helped form an organization that now lobbies the government. Like, how is that not activism? Like, what? What do you, what? Like, it's not, maybe, like, it depends, obviously, like, on your definition of activism, but, like, if you're trying to, my opinion anyway, if you're trying to make life better for other people, I think that's a form of activism. Like, no matter what that is. Like, if you're doing something that is, like, outside the realms of normality, for example, I don't know, the realms of legality, maybe even, sometimes, not always, but sometimes, then I think that classifies as activism. If you're challenging the status quo to improve lives for people, I think that's activism. But I don't know. I'm not an authority on what activism is. But neither is anyone else, so... Egg your landlord. You haven't told a story about egging before? It's not really a story. Like, I got a carton of eggs. The leader of the Christian Democrats walked in the Pride Parade, and I was angry that they were allowed to, because they have been like enemies of trans rights for like decades, and now they're suddenly allowed to walk in the Pride Parade in Stockholm. I was pissed off about that. So I got a carton of eggs, and I was gonna throw it at the leader, but cops were nearby, so I didn't. It's not really a story. The revolution needs entertainment. You make very smart and fun and lofty content entertainment. That's, I mean, I guess that's true. Thank you. That's true. I mean, I guess this is a form of like activism, I guess. But I don't think it's the same thing as like having placards outside of a government building or inside. It's not. It's a different sort. Oh, hi, Mia. Hello. She's talking about my approaches for reactivating the community. Hell yeah, we stand. We start activism. Okay, I did catch up with chat now, so I'm gonna check around all the social medias that I have to see if I missed an anonymous question somewhere, and then I'm going to, if you have questions now, ask them, because I will be wrapping up in a bit. I'll do like an ending spiel where I talk a little about the channel, upcoming content, quick status update, stuff like that, like upcoming streams and everything. So let's see. This music is like, I've been playing this music a lot. I like this music. Okay. Here, that's my update. So I'm gonna do my ending spiel now, and then if you have questions, which you should put in now in the chat, if you have them, I'll do like a quick fire round after I'm done, and then I'll end the stream. I think that works. So for obviously, because I got sick, like a lot of my streams have been kind of pushed forward, which is unfortunate. So what I'm gonna do is, the plan that I have is that I'm on Wednesday, I'm gonna have my old video react stream, which is available to all patrons, including like $1 patrons. So if you want to see that, and you're not a patron, you can sign up on my Patreon. I don't want to do that much of a thing because it's usually not a Patreon stream, but you know, that's a thing. On Friday the 24th, yeah, apparently I put that on Friday for some reason. Turns out, on Friday the 24th in the morning at 9 a.m. Central European summertime, I'm going to have a like one of these, an Ask Me Anything thing, but in the morning, which is more to which is more for people who live in like Oceania, Asia, Japan, China, in those time zones where this time slot isn't maybe the most conducive. So if you are in Europe and very much awake in the morning, or maybe in America in the middle of the night, then you can join in on that on Friday the 24th. And Friday the 24th is also my birthday, when I turn 27 years old. And I might do a kind of birthday stream then. I haven't really decided anything yet. It turns out that Oliver Thorne from the channel Philosophy Tube also is having a birthday that day, because we have the exact same birthday, because we are the exact same age, because we're twins. He's been mentioning something about a stream then, so maybe we'll do something then, but we I don't know. We'll see how it turns out. And then on Sunday, April the 26th, I'm gonna have a public hangout, which is like public, like this one is. This is a special case, but usually, but the hangouts are usually public, and I'm gonna have that on Sunday on April 26th at 8 o'clock Central European Summer Time, and that means hopefully by then I will have finished the video that I worked on and then moved, so I put it on the back burner, got better, worked on it again, and then got sick, so we got put it on the back burner again. Hopefully that will be finished by then. We'll see though. I'm probably gonna have to reshoot a lot of things, because it's been like laying and not doing anything for almost a month. And I'm in a very different mindset. My hair has changed a lot, like my skin has probably changed a little bit. So like we'll see what maybe I'll reshoot that entire thing. But hopefully that'll be done by then. Hopefully we'll see. Probably by the end of the month actually, because I have a sponsor lined up on Thursday the 30th. So it might come out on the 30th actually. Probably gonna come out on the 30th if I'm honest. But okay. That is how it go. So let's check out the quick fire round chat. So I'm just gonna do a quick that, and let's turn that. Ooh, I closed a window on my computer and my room became much darker. My screen that I have right now is like too powerful. So if I have like a white window on my monitor, it will just bright up my entire room. It's too strong. Okay. Do you still think you don't deserve a wiki? I mean, maybe. Well, like if the government occupation is a thing, maybe. I might. Subheader. Subheader. Like pre-YouTube, during YouTube, final entry, trombone solo. Favorite rock or mineral? Ooh, I do like granite. Like it's a classic one, isn't it? I like granite. Like granite rock are just hell yeah. No, we know, although you're leaving to start the revolution. Maybe. It's possible. You never know. It's 4 a.m. here and I'm still watching. Well, I hope that you're not staying up too late. If you're too tired, remember to sleep, drink water. But if you are enjoying it and you're not exhausting yourself, then I'm glad you're here. Twins! What a coincidence, yeah. Ollie is literally me as evil twin. We don't know who is the evil one yet. Join early Ollie's birthday stream. He has invited me. We'll see. I'll talk to him about that. Maybe. Nefarious revolutions. When trying to catch up on your work, try not to overdose on Red Bull. Can't make any promises. do like Red Bull. No, but it's true. I'm going to try to take a slow approach because I've been sick for like a month. I'm gonna try to be as kind to myself as I possibly can, because I don't want to push myself too hard when I just got better from COVID, because you know, body energy is low, you know, and I don't want to push myself too hard. So I'm not gonna drink too much Red Bull. I'm gonna drink tea. I'm gonna drink black currant tea, which is the best tea in the world in my opinion, with just a little bit of sugar and a little bit of milk. Delicious. Thursday the 30th is better than Tuesday the 20th. Oh yeah, for sure. They plan to undermine the fabric of reality. Now hang on. What's the first thing you want to do once it's safe for actually do stuff outside? So I have a very old, very cheap, like a $20 like inflatable boat. That is not very good. It's like meant for children. But I can use it because it's pretty big for children, but like just the right size for me. I want to inflate that, and I want to, because the area around Stockholm has like huge archipelagos, and I like going out rowing on a little inflatable dinghy, which like it sucks so bad. It's like not a good dinghy at all. It's so inefficient, like you're basically splashing around. But I like it, and I like water. And it cost me $20, I think in 2017 to get this boat, and I can still use it. It's just good value. It's great. Why are you gay? Why am I bi? Good question. I think I had too much Red Bull. Favorite candy? Mawam. There's a Swedish candy called Mawam. Which are kind of like I don't know what it is. It's tasty. Are you both the evil one? UK and Sweden, both villain stereotype countries. It's true. How will you celebrate your favorite number 420 day tomorrow? Oh, I don't know. Do people do something special on 420 day? What do you mean? I have no idea. No, I won't actually. I will not partake in the devil's lettuce. I'm not gonna do anything to celebrate tomorrow. Speaking of like narcotics, today, if you didn't know, before I finish the stream, I kind of want to enlighten you all about this. Today, 4/19, is actually bicycle day, because the first ever instance of an acid trip, like the scientist who like invented LSD. Created it, and he wanted to try a very small amount. Now, if you don't know about LSD, like a very small amount is still enough to get you high. And he took what he thought was a very small amount, which turns out was actually a very big amount. And he thought that he was becoming unwell, so he took his bike home while slowly getting super fucking high on acid. He took his bike home, and during his bike ride home, he experienced the first ever in history LSD trip. And he wrote about it, and ever since then, like, 4/19 is like bicycle day, where people, I assume, do acid in solidarity with this poor scientist who accidentally became super duper high on acid by like taking way over any kind of recommended amount because he thought it was a very small amount. And he went on a bike ride. Can you imagine going on a bike ride while tripping on acid? I can only imagine must be wild. I feel so bad for him. Anti-heroes. This is hard to figure out, but do you have any idea where you got infected? I could have gotten infected fucking anywhere. I have two roommates. The grocery store where I shop is very dense, and people use it all the time. And like Sweden didn't really have stay-at-home orders or like quarantine things until very recently. Like when I got sick, they didn't have, like, there weren't any like stay 2 meters apart from anyone else orders. So It's possible I could have gotten sick fucking anywhere, honestly, because I did not quarantine properly. So like if you can quarantine yourself and like wash your hands, just like do that properly, because I probably didn't, and I paid the price. So like, you know, be careful out there. What's your favorite animal? Ooh, I do like ravens. I like ravens a lot. I think ravens is my favorite animal. Acid day right before weed day. Never done other drugs and alcohol, so no idea. Good. Don't do drugs, kids. But I think that's me catching up on chat, which means that I've done my ending spiel. I've talked about future streams. I've talked about everything else. I think that's the end of my stream today. So I'm going to... It's good timing too, because the music kicked up again. I think this is it. And I'm going to make some snacks, and then I'm probably going to play some Stardew Valley, because I've been having a lot of work to do today. Can't quarantine because I need to go sell shit. Twice in risk groups. Damn. I really, really fucking hope that like more countries outside of the US start doing like more, like, what's it called? A form of universal basic income right now, just to keep people going, so people don't have to force themselves to go to work. Because I feel like it's needed. Like, I have a lot of friends who work when they really shouldn't. But yeah, I'm gonna have some food, and I'm back, baby. I'm back. So now it's time for more content and more streams. And because I've been postponing so many things, and because I haven't made a video in so long, I should also mention before I leave that I'm going to make more streams than usual, and I'm gonna try for a time to make videos with a little less time between them. Like, instead of 4 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, or maybe even 2 weeks sometime, depending on how things go, to kind of catch up, because I want to make at least 12 videos a year. So that's what we're gonna do. Stimulus, that's what it's called. I hope something like that's gonna happen. But that's it for me today, and I'm going to yeet myself into my kitchen and make a snack and a cup of tea, and then I'm probably gonna play some Stardew Valley. Thank you all for watching, and yeah, I'm back, baby. I'm back.